Dead Space. I love the game. I love the franchise. I love Dead Space 1. I love Dead Space 2. Dead Space 3, I have not played it. But enough chit chat about the original trilogy. Because we are here to discuss the remake. Alright. The Dead Space channel has released a new official gameplay trailer. And we have several videos that I have not watched. And go. Yep, I'm here. Motive, alright. Ooh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Pretty good, but a little bit too... Okay, now, I was gonna say a little bit too clean, but there's a griminess there that's still intact. I'm glad the art design is consistent, at least. You know, it's made for modern hardware, but you can see the aesthetic is maintained. Yeah, I love it. Although I will say, this still hasn't convinced me to buy it, you know? As a person who has played the original Dead Space, what's in it for me? And if it's the graphics, then you need just... I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Damn. Damn, is it beautiful. Look at that shit. Yeah, I remember that. No, I always imagined the spine from the original Dead Space is more like the fluid that you inject yourself to heal with. Okay. Oh, I do love the underlay behind the mask. Oh, he has a voice. He has a voice in this game. In the remake, he has a voice. January 22nd, 2023. Yeah, for a trailer, it's pretty solid. If you had never played the original Dead Space, this is terrific, you know, a terrific place to start. Isaac has lines now, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what type of dialogue they added to the main character. The original Dead Space, he was completely silent, even up to the fact that when a revelation is revealed to Isaac, he doesn't even say anything. He'll do a gesture, but won't even say anything at all. Alright. So yeah, interesting change. I hope it'll pay off for them. One thing I'll say about the spine, I always imagine it as the fluid, the health vials that you pick up that contains the fluid, you know, the spine. And now it's more of a fluorescent tube type thing, like a neon light indicator, which is nice. You know, it fits in with the other games where it is an indicator using holograms, and this is just a very working man's version of that. Yeah, the visual changes don't stray far from the original, yet still make reasonable, sensible changes that make a big difference, I guess, if you were to put them side by side. Yeah, enough chit chat about that. Let's delve deeper into the development of this game, which is surprisingly open for an EA game.
And I'm the lead VFX artist on the Dead Space remake. What I'm going to show you today is some of the atmospheric and environmental VFX that have been created by our team. These are VFX such as fog, smoke, and pyrotechnics that help populate the Ishimura and help tell the Dead Space narrative. Now, before I show you what we're doing, let's take a look at the original Dead Space and what they did for
they're doing it.
Okay, all right. They did an amazing job in setting a very desaturated color palette with everything very muted.
Yes, very true.
Natural.
Very brown, but still beautiful in its own way.
Out of that horror mood. For the remake, we wanted to stay true to this, but look for opportunities to push things further using modern day techniques. The original was quite limited in terms of complexity of VFX, but we have a lot more room to move. The first thing I'd like to show you is how some of our VFX can react to changing environmental conditions. So here we have a debug scene, and as you can see, it's pretty much empty with some sparks and drips. These are pretty typical VFX that we'll see in a number of locations in the Ishimura to show damaged areas. What I'd like to show you is how these effects can react to changing environmental conditions, and in this case, what happens when gravity is disabled. I'm going to disable the gravity here.
Oh
And right now we
shit.
can see that these VFX are behaving differently.
Damn. Alright, alright. I see where it's
Now, there's
going.
a lot more happening than just the gravity. I can make a number of artistic choices as to how the VFX behave. For example, with the drips, I wanted to extend their lifetime so they spread out across the room rather than disappear quickly. For the sparks, I reduced their turbulent motion because when they had a lot of turbulence, it felt like they were still in normal
I know I'm
conditions.
supposed to be paying
There's a
attention to
number of things that we
VFX, but
can
I'm paying
modify
attention to the
so that
little
when the player
thrusters
interacts
at the
with
back
these
here
effects,
and the
they'll
boots.
feel believable
Little
and
cute
well
things.
integrated. These little details can really add up to help tell the story and make the Ishimura feel like it's alive.
Looks pretty good.
Next, I'd like
Goddamn.
to show you a little bit about our pyrotechnics pipeline. I'm looking at one of our explosion effects. This is something we'd see when a small prop is getting destroyed. Here we have a bunch of different elements, like a fireball, smoke, sparks, and debris. I'll hide a few of these so we can concentrate just on the fire and smoke. I'll set this to loop so we can see it continually playing. Something that is important to Dead Space is that we have a lot of dark environments that have changing lighting conditions. We were finding that elements such as fire and explosions would look way too bright when the environment was dark, and then would be barely visible when the environment was brighter. So what we had to do was to be sure that our source pyrotextures were rendered in full HDR quality to ensure that the final image would
Full
contain the full
HDR
range of
quality.
brightness values.
My
I'll slow
monitor
this
does
down a
not
bit
have
so we can see things a
HDR.
bit more clearly.
Not
If I
even
zoom
my
in,
living room
the exposure
TV.
will adjust so it doesn't appear too blown out, and when I back off, it will readjust. If I change this to
Awesome.
a darker environment, you'll see that we don't get a crazy
This is
amount
really
of
like
brightness, and we're still able to see a lot of detail.
more
in
of
the
a
image.
showcase
Finally,
for the engine
I'll
that
go
they're
pitch black.
using.
It still
And you
holds up
know,
and behaves
showcase
naturally.
away.
So this all means
Because this is
that
really
we can play a
interesting.
lot with the lighting in our
This is
environments,
a game I
and the VFX will
love.
still integrate into the
And them
experience
being
well
so open
and be
about
legible
this
by the player.
with their engine, with their Frostbite engine.
The final thing I wanted to show is our
It's
interactive
like,
atmospherics.
Illuminating and
So
gives
here
me
I
a sense
am
of
in another
hope.
test
It's
mode.
like, oh yeah, it's
I
in
have a few debug lights floating
good
around so we can
hands,
see what's
if you
happening
will.
here. I'll just back up and start one of our Steam effects. So what do we have here? It's a volume-based 3D simulation. It exists inside a container, and density and velocity values are pushed around to create what we see here.
A little bit of
Something that's
jankiness
cool about
that
this
will
simulation
hopefully
is
be
that it lives in the
ironed
physics
out.
world.
I mean, this
So
is
if
of
the
course the
player walks
debug
through it,
room.
it will interact. Also, if I pick up an object, like this battery, it will also behave quite naturally.
Like, I'm pretty sure they're
This will
like
work
showing
against the main
Isaac in
menu.
like,
I disabled
I
its
think the
AI, so it
second
won't attack me.
phase, or like the second to
As
final
you can
phase of the
see,
suit.
steam will collide and interact with
I
the
won't
interior.
really want to see what it looks like, just
This effect also works quite
bare,
well with our lighting
like the first
and renders
time
with the
you
rest of the
play,
fog we have throughout the
first
game.
minutes.
This can be used in a number of cases. We can create a steam or smoke effect like this, or we can cover the floor with a thin layer of interactive fog. In some cases, we can even fill an entire room with a cool simulation like this to give us some interesting and terrifying gameplay situations.
Nice.
So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the VFX we're working on.
Alright, deep dive part 2. This is part 1, so we'll watch that. Visual effects look amazing in this showcase, which is also a showcase for the Frostbite engine. Alright, let's be honest. They're showing the capabilities of it for next generation hardware. Alright, let's watch the first part.
Hi,
Immersive
my name is Roy
environments.
Quazon, and I am the Associate Art Director for the Dead Space remake. Today, I want to talk to you about the environment art process,
1.2, I didn't notice
how
that.
we are remaking the game with our new tools, techniques, and pipelines, and finally do a demo in the Frostbite engine on how we took a room from the legacy version to our current work in progress. Today, we are going to look at the MRI room in Chapter 2. When Dead Space was released more than 14 years ago, the visuals were great. It set the bar high for its time.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
since then,
You know, stroke your own
technology has
dick.
evolved.
We all love
With
it.
that, it allowed us to remake the game and really accentuate the main pillars of horror.
I mean, what you're saying is true.
And a lived-in world.
But so, like, it sounds different
Let me
when
quickly go
the people
over our
behind the
process
game,
with you.
like the company
On
behind
the
the game,
environment side, We break
are
down
saying
the
it.
pipeline into 6 phases that go from L0 to
Like,
L5.
they have a script, you know?
L0 is
Like,
our
here's the
R&D
list of
phase
things
where
that
we
you have to
analyze
say
the
while
original
doing your
game and
showcase.
identify what
And this
we
is
can
what you have to
remake
say
in
when
this
you're
area,
comparing them.
either
Really
through gameplay,
accentuate
visuals, sound,
that the
etc.
original Dead Space
Based
is
off
pretty
any
good,
changes,
but
we will
this
do
one's
some
gonna be
exploration
super
concepts
better.
to improve on the art pillars. L1. This phase is when the area will be playable, with rough blockout of the visual intention.
Nice.
When recreating a room in Frostbite, the artist will break it down into kits,
Kits.
pieces that they can use to build the room.
Kits.
Think of
Kits
this
are
as
right.
Lego
Yeah,
blocks.
man.
They will be
I
simple
really need to
shapes,
finish this go, Elysium.
sizes that represent the theme of the room. L2 is where details and colors are added into the kits to support the thematic of the area. Large props are staged.
Looks pretty good. This is
initial
like the
mood will be
first,
set.
literally the first place you go
L3
to.
is where we start to update the different PBR materials to a more realistic look. Add more props to support the theme and refine the lighting and VFX. You should start to get that immersive feeling by having the area more relatable and believable. L4 is where we add all the narrative elements. All the architectural kits get a polish pass with a wear and tear, small props, signs.
Okay, now I'm not sure. Is this the first place you go to? I don't think this is the first place you go to. Sorry.
And give that horror storytelling element.
This isn't the lounge.
L5 is where the polished elements of all the art department gets integrated to give that final high quality next gen Dead Space look and feel.
You're blue balling
This will
us.
be coming soon. Just to get a proper understanding of where we are in the production for this area, we are here in the beginning stages of our L4 phase.
Oh, cool.
Now that you know how we work,
Awesome.
we want to next demonstrate how we will remake these
And this
assets.
is like, what, 4 months ago?
Here is an example of a legacy asset, and here are some of the elements we plan on adding to get that immersive feeling throughout the ship. We want to show functionality. Rivets in the metal to show how it was put together. Latches on the window frames to show how the work
I hope they
was
don't
removed
overdo it, you
if
know?
it ever needed to be repaired. The variation in our PBR materials, the way light reacts to different types of painted metal versus the raw metal underneath. More realistic light fixtures. The dirty glass cover protects the light sources, giving that depth and more realistic feel. Add more shape and depth to the model to give it that believable look. To get that old live-in ship look,
I mean, this doesn't look
add
so
a wear
bad.
and tear to the
Like,
paint
as a
metal and
piece.
dirt
This is not
accumulation
bad
in
either,
areas
though.
that would not normally get cleaned. Now that we've highlighted a few examples of how we are going to remake an asset, in our next section, we want to put you in the seat of an artist and show you how our tools, techniques, and pipeline works.
Show
Hi there,
away.
I'm Evan Jovanovic, Senior Environment Artist on the Dead Space remake, and I'm going to give you a closer
Awesome.
look at how we make assets for the Ishimura. Here is an example wall asset as it passes through all the various stages of production. L1, raw model made to specific metrics for maximum reuse. L2, further refined modeling and color pass added. L3, more modeling details are added, custom masks are baked to control grime and wear using in-engine tools. L4, fine trim and embedded details are added as well as beveled edges. Next, we will have a look in Maya to see how the color pass is achieved. Here in Maya, we'll be using the Palette UV tool created by our tech team to help change the colors of our wall mesh. On the right-hand side, we can see the UV coordinates of the model, which correspond to the mesh's
It's
face.
tithering the
Same with
edge
swatches
for
of the
me.
UV palette tool, the UV shells are moved to different
You know,
quadrants,
it's
resulting in a color
almost
scheme.
too
Using
over
this palette system,
detailed.
we were able to keep colors consistent to art direction and
Almost.
script in different palette textures for each district theme, such as clean, industrial, and public, depending on the assets used within the ship. Now, let's dig into how some of our mesh details are achieved. Here in Blender, I'm going to show you one of our trim sheet texture sets I made by rebuilding and remixing details from the original Dead Space into a new texture layout. As we can see, this texture set uses parallax occlusion mapping, which allows you to mimic depth and details on an otherwise very simple geometry.
Okay, like, what are those?
One technique we have explored for applying these texture sets on models is using the third-party add-on decal machine to define specific parts
Like,
of the
what
texture
is,
set
like, the
to a
lower
library,
layer
which can then be
supposed to
easily swapped
represent?
and adjusted on the model. As you can see, this technique makes it fun to try out different trim combinations and can produce some interesting results. Here we
Yeah,
will
but is
apply
it
the same
cohesive?
library to the wall example we saw before. Through use of these trim textures, we are able to quickly try different approaches and create
Alright, okay.
consistent details. We try our best to focus on how these models would actually be constructed,
Cool,
creating panel
cool.
lines where pieces meet and connect, as well as adding handles and access points where parts could be removed for maintenance and cleaning.
Hi, I'm Xavier Perrault, and I am the lead environment artist on the Dead Space remake. I will be talking more in the details about our approach to level art and how we set the tone of the different areas of the ship and tell the story of the Ishimura through our environments. We have now the architectural modules modeled and their mask baked using our engine tool. The masks will define how the wear and grime build up on each of the modules.
I mean, this doesn't... It's not showcasing any VFX or real-time items being moved, so I'm just gonna speed it just a bit.
Reads those masks, and by tuning the parameters of the master shader, we can control the amount of wear and grime in a whole section of the ship at once. The shader defines the ground.
I hope they apply it
visuals.
sensibly.
At this point, it all looks the same everywhere. The world masking volumes come in play. They are fully scalable and can be used in many ways for multiple layering effects. We can increase the amount of wear or rust built up on the
Intuitive.
assets, or even add new layers like water or dust, for instance.
Showcase for the frostbite engine.
Assets are put in context in the level. Tuning the master shader and adding volumes of world masking are an integral part of defining the storytelling of the ship and how it has aged over time. With a growing library of architectural modules, they can be assembled to fully build all the sections of the Ishimura as one big interconnected ship in line with our metric guidelines. Then comes the main lighting intentions and the props dressing. We always ask ourselves what the function of that room is, how do we make it believable, and tell the story of the people that live there and how the events took place.
Mini stories through environment, you know? Environmental storytelling, if you will.
Masking volumes to wear down the floor in a realistic way where people used to stand and walk around in this setup. Maybe a water canister fell over near that desk and leaked all over the floor. But that was a while ago, and rust built up all around it.
Not very good.
After seeing our pipeline,
floor paneling then.
Engine demo, using the small room besides the MRI machine, you can see in this before and after comparison, we remade this room to accentuate the art pillars even more. We want the player to believe that the Ishimura crew worked here, that the functionality of this room makes sense, and you can even imagine yourself working in this environment.
I can imagine myself working the original Dead Space
if I take
too.
this part of the room, for example, before there used to be some shelves, lockers, and props around the wall with some writing on it. We remade it to have more immersive and believable theme. We made this corner of the room more functional by adding an examination bed with medical equipment. We gave that lived-in world by aging the walls and floors with some wear and tear.
They both make sense, you know?
This is the oldest functioning mining ship. We wanted to make sure that came through in the environment. Finally, we injected the horror pillar into this room with a bloody narrative scene on the bed and floor.
That's nice. Awesome.
That something horrible happened here and give that sense of danger looming around every corner. Thank you for joining us on this behind-the-scene look at the...
Like, they're both going for different things. Like, in the first Dead Space, it was a simple room. Like, it's like an office, in a way. And this is, like, a very lived-in examination area, which is, I guess, the original intent of the team, and now it's being fully realized. And although it's a bit grimier for my liking, hey, it's the oldest mining ship, right? And hopefully there will be areas where, like, there's some semblance of cleanliness still there. Not fully, but at least some. Alright, elevating character models.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam Compagna, and I'm the lead character.
It's character models, right? So I think we can speed it up.
A sneak peek on how we created the Isaac Intermediate Engineer suit, the slasher, and talk about our artistic process and our tools. Before I get started,
you're not talking about animation.
Showing some graphic content. There will be blood and guts. Well, everything that makes Dead Space so long.
Okay, maybe there will be animation.
Let's start with Isaac Intermediate Engineer suit. During the early phase of our project, we took inspiration from the legacy model and we followed the rules that made Isaac's suit so iconic. Looking at the ribbing that is inspired by Gothic architectures and human anatomy, the three lines on his helmet, and the overall layered look that reminds us this is a worker's outfit and not a military uniform.
Yes, yes.
This was the thinking we used as we redesigned the suit for our remake. We were tempted to go in a science fiction direction, but kept the suit design low-tech, dusty, dirty, and greasy. We kept in mind that the suit was produced by a greedy corporation like CEC and was built in an utilitarian way.
Greedy corporation, like EA. Boom, got him.
Here we are with the new design, making it functional. And as you can see, we made sure the suit was airtight at the seams to make it feel believable for use in outer space. Here we are in ZBrush, where the character is sculpted as if it was formed by digital clay. This is where we do most of our sculpting and where we spend most of our time creating the character. The head is worked in a separate file and in a different way as it is based on Gunner's Wright's head scan and come with all his facial expressions. The helmet is worked on separately as well because of the size of the file, as it tends to slow us down. As you can see here, we worked on the outside and inside.
Damn, even in the inside,
so
goddamn.
It matches when Isaac removes it. Since you already saw Isaac in-game on the previous live stream, I will use this time to take you on a tour of Substance Painter, which is a texturing software.
It's a bit too shiny.
The final result.
Although it is in line with the
dirt
sequels,
and
I
minimal
guess.
variation.
The sequels
This
have
is here
more
as well
shinier
that we add
suits.
micro-detail like
So I'm
fabrics
guessing they're
and
bridging the gap.
The design of the suit was purposely kept low cost. We also avoided rare material like leather due to its rarity on Earth in the Dead Space universe.
Nice. Paying attention.
We used instead synthetic material and dull metal that oxidized quickly. We took as reference real-world miner from the 30s.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
Dead
yeah.
Space universe miner are given cheap outfit because company didn't equip them well and didn't care about their safety. Now that we've seen Isaac's suit, I'd like to show you a slasher since there is always one
They're
way to
displaying
go.
a
Our
very
event. We researched
good
targeting
understanding of the
well,
universe,
taking note what
as
would
they
set a
should.
memorable enemy with its claw-shaped arm and deformed body. Not only the design itself was important to our new slasher, but it was equally important to make it satisfying to dismember
Yummy.
and peel away its layers.
Mmm.
Here are some visual development on how we wanted
Yummy,
to dismember the
yummy.
slasher from its intact state to the fully destroyed one, with all
Like
the
to
phases
scoop
in
up his
between,
guts
some
and
peeling,
eat it myself
dismemberment
with its
with
side
some
of
parts,
jelly.
and finally the fully
And
dismembered
tea.
version.
Ooh. Yeah, I hope it's
So we started
more
to think
visceral.
about the inside. This is the part that will be revealed when you shoot at the necromorph. Naturally, we wanted to expose its internal organs.
Nice.
Since this was the base of our recipe. Then, show it bones, muscles,
Easy
fat.
pee-pee. Sorry.
We didn't want it to see all the muscles, as it's only supposed to reveal a wounded part made by Isaac's tools. The next question we asked ourselves was, how could we build a system that fits most of the necromorph? Well,
What
the
will
solution was
happen
to
if
use
a player shoots the penile
As you can see,
area?
all the parts are separated. This way, we could use them as we wanted, like for the brute, which is made of 3 humans, we can easily kit batch its skeleton this way. All internal organs are also separated. This way, we could use them as we wish. Now that we covered the inside of the slasher, let's see where we are with the outside.
Bro,
We
it's
sculpted it in ZBrush,
ugly.
thinking about how the skin stretched and tore as the link grew up very quickly during a very painful transformation.
30-year-old British guy. Sorry.
The layering is important here, as well as what the
Ah,
opening
man.
We have the skin, fat, muscle, cartilage, bones, and we need to see and understand each part. Now, I will jump straight into Painter. Just
Ooh,
like for
fucking
Isaac
looks
and
pretty
our model,
good.
we
Holy
sculpted them
shit.
in ZBrush.
Nice.
But here, the texturing and materials are more interesting.
But the skin looks
First,
not...
while we are currently only showing
not
a single
there
sculpture,
yet, honestly.
Since the Ishimura is crewed by humans from all corners of the galaxy, it makes sense that our slasher reflects a wide range of ethnicities in the final game.
Awesome, that
We
is
need to the amount
nice.
of blood and dirt present before you start
That's
shooting
nice.
it
In
when
keeping with
you start
lore,
the peeling process.
making it
Finally, let me
more
show you how we
accurate
textured this
to
level fell, adding
the
layers and
text.
layers of details to make it more realistic. We start with a plain color as base, and then we add some layers that will have an influence on the reflection, color, and micro volumes. We took care to think about how the wounded skin would look like, bloody, but yellowish when it's dried of blood. Then we added some more subtle details like veins, molds, and pimples. And to finish, let's add, well, you've already guessed what? Blood.
Yo, awesome.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the
This is my
and the
reaction
slasher
to
work
this
in
episode
progress.
of Art Deep Dive. See what the comments are saying. Best marketing. I like the new Slasher's lower arms. It's amazing. There's been over 30 years already. And they get them all to look individually different. And I'm loving how you're taking lore into account. Yep, these are all my fucking thoughts on it. Pretty spot on. Alright, let's go for part 4.
My name is Mike Yeomans, and I'm a lighting lead here at Motive. Today my team
Lighting,
and
my
I are going to talk
favorite
about
part,
the lighting of
unironically.
Dead Space Remake.
Because it made
First of all, we're going to
the
talk
game
about
look
how we are recreating the fantastic lighting
perfect.
design of
The
Dead
original,
Space
at
1.
least. Because without it,
We'll follow up
without
with
the
our
lighting
choices and
effects
advances in
that
real-time
was
lighting.
handed, it
And
would
lastly, we'll show
look
you how we
very
create
much
an immersive
outdated.
sense of atmosphere, which is an important visual pillar for us. Dead Space had iconic design down to the last detail, and the lighting fixtures weren't left out of this equation. They just felt unique and that they fit into the design of the ship perfectly.
Yeah, they're pretty varied now that
We
I'm
have
thinking about
reimagined
it.
the lighting design of the Ishimura and Valor, staying true to the originals while
Look at all
creating
those
additional
lights.
fixtures that fit into its established direction.
Look at that.
The fixture
detail on
design
that.
feels modern while the bulb technology feels
How much
grounded
will
in
this game cost? $70? Oh.
We are creating the illusion of depth in our fixtures so you can see the inner workings of the bulb beyond the glass using emissive shaders with a parallax effect. The brightness of the fixture respects the intensities of their real-world counterparts, and our lighting system uses the surface area of our emissive surfaces to determine how bright the bulbs get. Our volumetric lighting creates realistic cones of light that are unique to each fixture.
Yeah, I'm counting on that.
So we get really interesting shards of light with a hint of color. Much like in the real world, we use Kelvin temperature to determine the hue of our lights, so once again they feel
Cookie.
familiar to what you would expect in real life.
I could go for a cookie right now, but I can't
These
eat
are
them.
reduced
They're
cinematics
too
to reduce
crunchy.
performance cost. We
Too
are using them more
hard.
extensively in Dead Space Remake, as they help to create convincing specular shapes, diffused lighting, and
Look at this
shadows,
small
and a more
boy,
accurate
Isaac.
volumetric shape. Simply put, they have lighting qualities that standard spotlights just can't achieve. Area lights make the most sense for rectangular-looking light fixtures such as signage. It would have been hard to reproduce the lighting from these types of sources with more punctual lights.
Hi, my name is Mathieu Tétrault, and I'm a senior lighting artist on Dead Space Remake. Our lighting
Understandable.
artists are able to craft the lighting in real time and control exactly how much indirect light, or global illumination, is bouncing around the scene. In previous game, we had to do offline calculation to pre-compute lighting and apply it to geometry in the form of light maps.
And it
This is
worked
time-consuming
pretty
operations
well.
and will limit any drastic lighting changes. Our remake is
Alright, time consuming, I get it.
Approximation
Need
of
to hit that deadline, I
Artists
guess.
can get direct feedback from the change and can better match the amazing concept art. Our tools allow lighting artists to visualize individual lighting passes and material properties to isolate issues and iterate on quality. As each light is activated and dialed in, we can see the bounce lighting react in real time. This approach was essential to ensure we can accommodate all the drastic lighting changes that occur in real time in front of the player. Scary lighting changes, quarantine,
Yeah, that looks...
light flickering. We place fixture in the ship, much like it would have been assembled in a shipyard. Then, we give an area a distinct character by changing the behavior and setting on each fixture instance. This allows each area to have its own signature mood, ambience, and level of horror. We focus on developing credible light behavior, such as flickering.
I'm glad the
fluorescence,
lighting is like getting the
fluorescent,
respect
and
it
incandescent
deserves.
Imagine an all-fluorescent light tube.
Because it really is an important component in Dead Space.
In this video, we can see how the electrical current is driving the behavior of different fixture technology, from fluorescent to incandescent. Hi, I'm Guillaume Goudreau. I'm a lead outsource lighter on Dead Space team. In game development, we often use fog to help simulate atmospheric perspective and add.
Hopefully
ambience
not
to the level.
too much.
It is used to communicate a sense of depth and detach the different element of the background. In Dead Space, the atmosphere of the ship is one of the key contributors of the sense of horror. To create that atmosphere, we've gone one step further. We are putting a lot of energy into creating a realistic volumetric fog solution. First, we need a lot of control to create the dreadful atmosphere expected in Dead Space. With our system, we can simulate a layered fog approach. We have control over the texture that move and shift inside of the fog. We can control the speed of the movement and detail in the texture. We can recreate a fog creeping along the floor. We have also control over the absorption. It gives the feeling
Yeah, this is like
that smoke that absorbs
the showcasing Frostbite
very much like the
engine
smoke we
part.
collect on the ceiling during a fire. We can also control the color of the fog for those moments when we need a little extra punch. Second, we need a convincing light interaction with the
Hey,
fog.
don't just show what you can do with it. Let me like show where it's gonna be applied, you know? Like what can you spoil? Come on, seriously. What can you spoil? You've all know the game for some time now. You know, it's been 10 years.
Lastly, we need something flexible. Whenever we have a big change and we need to adjust the mood of the scene, we can animate and adjust the environment fog. This is especially useful when we do transition from the inside of the USG Ishimura to the outside. We will be able to contrast the heavy ambience of our interior with the complete lack of atmosphere in the outer space.
Yeah, the ending was underwhelming. But for the most part, I'm glad they're treating the lights with respect. And I have no doubts about the fact that this game will have excellent lighting. Alright, part 5.
Okay. Yeah,
Room, atmosphere, engine.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah. So just like we saw in the concept, it's
It's more of a
dark.
walkthrough, huh?
It's really hard to see what's out there, and
It
we
is
do that on
a
purpose
walkthrough.
to contribute to the fear.
I remember
of the
this
unknown,
part.
right? You don't know what's back there. We're doing that on purpose, but then there's just a little bit of life in there, just so that it's not a completely dead scene. And then as we look above us, we see the massive engine, and it makes us feel small and insignificant, right? It's looming.
Not representative of final release. Now this gives me hope and also caution. Because like, it can be downgraded. No, that's a possibility.
And then we're always leading the player with a little bit of horror storytelling, a little bit of
He just shot that.
various tools and crates.
What a poopy player.
I love the masks on sign up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite thematic. Safety first. Dead Space is a game about safety.
That's partly true, right?
Okay. So in this state, now we're in a state where it's starting to, we've powered the room, so the engine is slowly starting to rotate, a little bit of life to it. highlights, you can see the blood.
You'll have to speak up. We've booted up an engine.
Yeah, it's
Let's follow the blood trail then.
let's do that.
No.
It's always a good idea.
So here we go.
I don't
This is
like.
the iconic,
There's a magnet
picture
sign
that we
beside
saw
the ammo.
earlier.
You can see the
I
different
don't
treatments
remember.
of
I don't
blood,
recall
like the one that is
there being
still wet,
there in the original.
blood that's got dried up on the side.
Oh, no, it's not there. What was that about?
More is more. More types
More,
of blood.
more.
More blood states. More blood conditions.
Yeah. And then we finally get here, and we're going to activate the engines.
Turn it on.
Let's turn it. And we look up above us, and then we can see this
Okay,
glorious
I don't remember it being like this
fully operational.
glorious.
It's open,
God
it's
damn.
full speed.
It's
like
blinding.
It's like a beating heart. The room has come to life, and we have completed the transformation. And then as
Where's
you
the
look to right,
where's the
we witness the scene of a
ghouls?
horrific bloodbath.
Where
And,
are
Yeah,
the bagools?
some bad stuff happened there.
Again, just that great teamwork between the environment artist and the story artist. Like, I mean, you can really you can guess what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
And
can.
we're back into darkness as we make our way down, and then we take one last look at the engine, and then the smoke.
Boo! Come on, show some of the monsters, blast them to bits, or are they too scared? Come on,
And that's it for today.
that tone made it sound like that's like their 50th take. That's it for today. Boop. Okay, hopefully this one will be it. No more. Oh, this guy got the Suicide Squad Joker PFP. Damn. Honestly, respect. The key word here is overuse. Do not do that, alright? There has to be a balance. They're on the line, okay? They're on the line. It's a very thin line, and they're like leading towards overdoing it just a little bit, you know? And if they fall completely, it's gonna fall flat on its face, okay? Yeah, this gives me hope, you know? They're being transparent as much as they can be with an EA AAA video game. And like I said before, it is very much a showcase for Dead Space as it is a showcase for the Frostbite engine that they're using. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You just need to keep that in mind. Now, with all the praise that I'm giving it, I'm still not convinced that I have to buy it. Like, I have to get out of my way to buy this game. Hopefully more art deep dives are coming soon. Maybe official walkthroughs, developer commentary. Who knows? Just to get the sense that this game is worth remaking. Now, it's getting there. It's getting to the point where I'm convinced, but not yet. Not yet.